Have you ever gotten like a certain produce or certain food and then out of nowhere your kids just don't like it anymore? It was their favorite, and then, the next week or even the next day, they just decided, it's not our favorite anymore. And it seems like it's all of your kids, not just one or two. This happens with produce often for us. Sometimes they'll love oranges, sometimes they won't. Same with apples and bananas. So I like to come up with creative ways to make sure we're not wasting them, and one of them is to can them up and then use the peels to make an all-purpose cleaner, which I just add white vinegar to all the orange peels, press it down, get the air bubbles out, and make sure all the peels are covered with the vinegar. That's it. All right, I have a big bowl of oranges here. So the next step after peeling them is to make sure you individualize them into your jars. I'm doing quarts because last time I did pints and we took out maybe 2, 3 pints at a time just for them all to be able to have the amount that they wanted. So this time I'm doing quarts, that way I'm just taking out one jar. All right, so separating these, squishing them down until they get to about a 1.5 inch, sorry, a half inch headspace. And then I am making a simple syrup, which is simply just water and sugar. You can use honey, you can use just water, it's up to you. I like to use a very light syrup, which is 3/4 a cup to every 6 cups of water. And then I'll ladle it in here. And I use this little guard, that way it's not splashing all the sticky simple syrup all over the rim. Makes it easier to clean up before I put on those lids and make sure there's a proper seal. So again, I'm making sure that this liquid is going to fill it up to a half-inch headspace. And then I'm going to go through with a straw because I cannot find my little tool and just get those bubbles out to make sure there's a proper amount of liquid in there and a proper amount of oranges to create the headspace, which will help that seal again make sure that it actually does what it's supposed to do. As you can see, okay, and then come through with the vinegar, wipe the rims, make sure there's nothing sticky, put those lids on, make sure you're checking for any kind of dents or any kind of indication that maybe that lid is not going to seal properly. You also want to check your rings and also check the rims of the glass jar itself. Any kind of crack or imperfection isn't going to allow it to seal properly and it's going to fail. So just make sure you're always checking. All right, next you put them in the pot. I'm going to water bath can these, not pressure can. And once it comes to a boil, you boil it for 15 minutes, or quart jars are 20 minutes, sorry. And then let it sit for 5, take them out, and you are all done.